So in this video, I'm going to give a quick demo on how to make some food from clay and how to score and slip it onto my plate. So right now I have a small amount of clay and I'm wedging it to remove air bubbles and to combine the clay so that it becomes one nice continuous piece of clay that's all the same consistency. This way I won't have dry clay mixed with wet. It'll all be nice and combined. So I'm going to start by just rolling clay into a ball. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn my clay into a pancake. So keep in mind when you make pancakes, they're not typically perfectly round because it depends on how you pour the pancake batter into the pan. They don't usually come out perfect. You can make it as perfect as you want. Also keep in mind that a pancake is pretty thin. You do not want it to be as thick as your pinky. I know we've been talking about making clay as thick as your pinky, but when it comes to making your clay food, you're going to have various thicknesses depending on what you're making. Just keep in mind that you cannot have anything thicker than your thumb. So if you're going to stack up a bunch of things, that stack cannot be thicker than your thumb unless you hollow out your items. So here's my plate. I'm going to go ahead and score and slip my pancake down onto my clay plate, which I have previously made. Before I do so, I want to smooth out the front. Just make some lines in one direction and then lines the other direction. This is called cross hatching. And do the same thing on the plate where you are going to attach your pancake. Scoring is very important in order to make the clay stick. The two pieces of clay that are going to be attached need to be scored. That means cut, but not cut all the way through. And then they need to be slipped. Slip is adding a clay water mixture, which forms glue for the clay so that it can stick together. Make sure you press it down well to squeeze out any water and air that are between the two layers of clay. Once you squeeze those out, you can then use a sponge or a paintbrush to remove the extra slip around your pancake or your food item. You might also leave it if you want it to look like syrup is on your pancake. You can use a thick slip to make syrup or whipped cream or any other type of thing that has that consistency. So I'm going to make another pancake. I'm going to have them arranged on my plate, like not directly stacked, and they're not very thick either. So in this demonstration, I'm just going to layer a couple of pancakes and then make a fried egg to go along with it. In this assignment, you should think about how can you fill up your plate in an interesting way to receive a good grade. If you just have one pancake on your plate, you cannot expect to get a very good grade because it's not filling up the space. So we're creating a composition that's interesting. Composition means how are you arranging the elements in your artwork. Just as in music, you arrange the music notes in a certain way to create music. If all of your music notes are whole notes, your composition in music will be very boring. Same thing with art. If you arrange it with all the same items, or if you just have only a couple of things in your composition, it's not going to make a very interesting design. People are not going to want to look at it for very long because it won't be very interesting. So I'm just going to go ahead and score and slip those together. Again, pressing out any water and air between the layers. And then you can use a small sponge, which you'll find in a basket by the window with the clay tools. Make sure you wet it first in water and squeeze it out. And you can use it to absorb the extra moisture that the slip left on your plate. You can also use a tool to kind of carve around the food that you place on your plate. 2 reasons are, one is to seal the items on really well. The other one is just to add more definition so that you can see the food and it's not becoming smushed into the plate and becoming one with the plate. You want to make sure it looks like it's food sitting on a plate. So now I'm forming my egg. I'm going to make my egg white first, just stretching out my clay. When I think about an egg is pretty thin around the edges. Actually, I'm making butter right now. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. I'm going to put a pat of butter on my pancake. Just score and slip those together. Press them on well so all the water and air comes out in between them. Smooth the edges so it really looks like a nice blob of butter. Okay, moving on now to create my egg. Take time to really smooth things while they are wet, because once they are dry, it'll be very difficult to make them as perfect as you'd like them to be. So I am rolling my egg white into a ball. I'm going to use the same process as I did for the pancakes by flattening it. And then I will add an egg yolk in the middle, because a fried egg has the yolk in the middle. Unless you pop the egg yolk and then it kind of just flattens out. So I'm just kind of making a roundish kind of shape. Eggs are usually not round. When you crack an egg into a pan and you fry it, it really doesn't come out perfectly round. So again, score it and slip it. Score lines both ways. Slip. Need to score my plate where the egg is going to attach. I have enough slip on my egg. I don't think I need to add any more to my plate, maybe a little bit, just to make sure I get a good tight seal of the egg attaching to the plate. Again, go around the edges, get the extra slip off of there. Use a sponge to do so. And then to make it look like more like an egg, I'm going to go ahead and make a small ball that will become the yolk. Pancakes and eggs are pretty easy to make if you're having trouble thinking of what you could make. So for each of my food items in this demonstration, I've started out with a round ball, except for the butter. I guess the butter kind of was more of a square shape. So I'm making sure that my egg yolk is attached well. I want to make sure I score my areas and slip them with water and clay mixture, and then make sure I have enough slip, and then I can glue it on with the slip. And then also fixing the egg to get rid of extra score lines that I might see. So for this, my plate of food, if I were to finish this, I might add a couple pieces of bacon, maybe some toast, some home fries, some sausage links, a couple pieces of fruit,